have him all wrong. My brother is not the kind of person you think he is.
This is the ultimate life form. Tyrant! Stop it.
Wesker, you're pitiful.
I despise Chris.
Albert Wesker hates Chris Redfield. Now, that may be obvious, but the question is why? Well, it's something much deeper than clashing ideology. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of their relationship. Albert isn't just evil, he was manufactured. A lot of people tend to misconstrue pure evil and intended evil. Think Frieza from Dragon Ball Z, a character who is just pure evil. He was born superior, never had to work or challenge himself, never got pushed into a position of corrupted power. He just chose it. Wesker, on the other hand, was predispositioned to lack any real feelings or emotions. As we see, children were taken and handpicked based off of various factors such as exceptional intelligence to be given the name Wesker, essentially symbolizing an objective superiority to other humans, in which Albert was a standalone. He was cold, efficient, and ambitious, so not only was he naturally gifted in many areas, he was raised to not just feel but be superior to humanity. This led him down a very dark path. So on top of him being a human social experiment from birth, and being told he was the pinnacle of humanity, he was raised by a scientist obsessed with advancing humanity and becoming something greater than an ordinary human. So his father was basically the pinnacle of a mad scientist. Wesker ended up believing he's always right, and that because of the already innate talents he had, he's better than everyone. As he was experimented on more and more, this eventually escalated into what he is in RE5. Now, the ultimate symbol of who he became is when he actually kills Spencer, the man who made him who he is. Wesker didn't hate Spencer or anything like that. He killed him because he recognized him as someone who didn't provide use, someone who threatened his chance of becoming a god. He hated looking in the mirror as something he deemed lesser. Wesker is driven by trauma he doesn't even know exists. That's why he questions Spencer about himself being manufactured, because it hurts his ego. In the Resident Evil universe itself, trauma gives birth to two types of people. Persevering souls with golden hearts who harden under the rough circumstances, but never lose their values. And the monsters scarier than any virus mutation themselves. The ones that become more horrifying than the environment they were manufactured in. The sort of cold calculation that makes you wonder if they'll pull the trigger without a second thought. But what does this all have to do with Chris? Well, unlike Wesker, Chris lived a relatively ordinary life and showed a strong sense of justice and empathy. Chris joined STARS, where he eventually met Wesker, who he really looked up to, by the way. And Chris wanted to join because he wanted to genuinely help people, similar to Leon Scott Kennedy. Of course, this all changes after Wesker betrays STARS to produce bioweapons and play God. After Jill sacrifices herself to stop Wesker, Chris is completely and utterly traumatized, as we see when Sheba is in danger in Resident Evil 5 and he has flashbacks. Even when Wesker pulls a gun out on Chris and the tyrant impales Wesker, Chris genuinely worries and cares for Wesker's seemingly gruesome death. Chris shows an abundant amount of humanity and empathy, while Wesker shows none. Wesker's affection is conditional and limited. Chris's is unconditional and plentiful. Wesker simply can't understand the world through his lens because he believes himself to be genetically superior and morally absent. Wesker's goals blind an objective reality he never learned as a child. Wesker wants to control all the variables in life, because life is chaotic and random, and most importantly, his life was controlled. Mentally, he isn't human. Wesker is. What if a human was gifted in nearly every way, but was raised to see others as expendable, and himself as deserving of control over reality and humanity itself? So you might be wondering, what does this have to do with hating Chris? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's simple. He hates him because he can't understand him. Someone who's purely analytical and narcissistic hates people who they instinctually view as strong-willed or even a symbolic threat to their ideology. Not only is Chris Redfield both of these things, he is actively going against what Wesker wants to create. The funny part is, Chris doesn't even hate him either. He just views him as another crazy scientist. Chris not taking him seriously despite his accomplishments hurts his ego. Everyone has fears, and his fear is the boulder punching Redfield. So in the end, Wesker hates Chris not because of power, not because of rivalry either, but because Chris is the mirror of humanity he can never fully grasp. This is my first video on this channel, guys, so if you enjoyed it or thought it was solid, please like and subscribe, especially if you like Resident Evil. It means a lot, and I plan to upload some more content soon. Thank you for watching and have a good night.